Hello everyone, and on Monday night, which is 48 hours ago from recording, we had our very first CPD, Teaching Absolute Beginners Teaching Workshop, hosted at the Belfast Unemployed Resource Centre, and we released a podcast just before kicking off, talking about what we would do. So as the night was led by Arthur on Monday, let's hear from him on how he thought the whole night went.
Well, hello Alan, and thank you indeed for the opportunity to say something now that I've had a chance to recover and perhaps reflect on what happened in an evening that really, I think, was very well received by all who attended. Obviously, people from a wide range of different organisations or with very varying amounts of experience of teaching absolute beginners, and everybody was very well prepared to contribute their perspective and make suggestions in a way that was very open and collaborative. My only hesitation, I suppose, is that perhaps the contributions that I personally made were a bit more diffuse than I would have liked them to be, and and when we're running something like this again, I'd certainly want to perhaps tighten up that aspect of the event. But that said, there was very considerable evidence of willingness of people to network, share experience and talk to other people where they could help or be helped. And I think we're at the beginning of something that really, could provide an opportunity for further development. But there was a bit more to it, of course, in that after the break, we then moved to Ready, Steady, Teach. And since you were involved in it, I'm going to turn the tables and ask you, what you thought of that as an activity and what people got out of it.
I was really looking forward to the Ready, Steady, Teach section because it was either going to go one of two ways. It was going to be a complete success or an absolute disaster, depending on how everybody on the 5 tables responded to what I give them. But it turned out to be quite a success. So across 5 tables, one table got 2 toy clocks to work out as many lessons to deliver with that. One table got Cuisenaire rods, but nobody knew what Cuisenaire rods were. They're different sized, basically wooden sticks of different colours. One table got a medical doctor set. By doctor set, I mean a doctor set you would get in the toy section of a pound shop. There was a toy tea set, and there was also, I can't remember what the last one was.
Milk bottle top.
The legendary milk bottle tops, which are shown to nearly every student at some stage in their life in the BELFAST programme. So we got a very, very, very wide range of possible lessons for each toy or each set of items, even things you wouldn't really think of. Some of my personal favourites were interpretive dance, which no one wanted to admit to the rest of the room when we were looking for feedback from the whole room. But interpretive dance with the clocks was one of my favourite. Where a student would say a time with the clock and another student would have to dance the motions of the hour hand and the minute hand. But there was very, very wide ranging and a lot of possible lessons with each item, which was very good. Some groups I've done stuff like that with only give you about 2 or 3 options, but I think nearly every table came up with at least a dozen, if not more.
Yeah, and if I can say, I think the thing that came through strongly is you don't need an awful lot of expensive kit to be teaching absolute beginners. A lot of it was done with things that you could pick up in Poundland for £1 or a couple of euros, or things that like the milk bottle tops or whatever could be easily acquired. But the challenge is to think of the pedagogical point of using them in a variety of ways, and certainly students themselves seem to value the fact that it isn't expensive kit that's being used.
Yeah, I think students and teachers alike sort of value just something hands-on in the classroom, and the whole point of the exercise was you could lift any old thing from your roof space, apart from the dead mice in mine, to teach anything you want. because it's the only limiting factor is your imagination, basically. It can go as far and as wide as you really want. It's really good fun. So did we get a final rundown on the numbers for Monday night?
I think there were 26 people had signed up, and in addition to that, we had 10 members of the volunteer team. So there were 36 people, around at different times. And as you'll recall, there was an opportunity, indeed, almost a requirement, that everybody had an opportunity to talk to pretty well everybody else in the room at some stage, either through the break or through some of the participative activities. And certainly, moving things forward a bit, I do see a willingness there to, take the basic concept that underpinned the structure and the format of the thing and change the content, but of other events for English and indeed other language teachers in both Belfast and beyond.
So, Arthur, do you think there will be plans for any more of these events, since we see our first one as quite the success?
Well, I think we're happy with not only the format and the content, but also the level of willingness of people to meet at least occasionally to talk about best practice or share experiences. So we will be looking at something which will provide a regular programme of different activities that will help people who are language teaching in various ways to meet like-minded people from other organisations. And it's on the basis of this that really over the next few weeks we'll be trying to join up all the various things that we've been doing online to provide a more coherent platform from which the Belfast programme can move on into the future. I'm talking about things like using the mailing list to make sure people are aware of events that are coming up, or the newsletter, obviously the podcast that you yourself have been so instrumental in getting together, and generally joining up all the use of social media so that we can practice what is preached in management courses and actually just do it in quite an innovative way.
Okay, so that about covers our feedback so far from Monday night's very first Teaching Absolute Beginners CPD workshop. Have you anything more to add, Arthur?
Well, I'm going to just finish perhaps by saying I hope in the next day or so be able to compile a Survey Monkey which can be sent out to those who attended, where I can get a fair bit of feedback and perhaps provide another podcast in a week or so in which I can comment on any suggestions, observations, or indeed anything that people were less than happy with or felt could be done in a different way. So perhaps in the near future there'll be one more opportunity to hear something more about that Absolute Beginners event.
Okay, well, thank you very much. So that was the feedback of our very first Teaching Absolute Beginners CPD. Thank you very much, Arthur, for giving us your time on the podcast.
Well, thank you. So it's good night from me.
And it's good night from me. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Good night.